All right, welcome to Seek the Greatness, a channel that's all about applied self-investment. Today is going to be a 60-day copywriting challenge. So I made a decision to pay $60 for a challenge because when you pay money for a challenge, it makes you more motivated. And I was also doing this to try and add structure to my day and also give myself some type of what do you call it? Some purpose. So I signed up for this 60-day copywriting challenge, and this is day one. And each day we're going to look and winning ad, like some ads that sold very well, and then we are going to like break them down, and then later on I'm going to write my own copy. So you don't have to be there for the whole like process, but you definitely want to stick around for the part where you have to learn how to break down copy. So, right now, what are we looking at? This is day one. We're looking at the Mississippi, this winning ad, Times Orange County Classic ads. And here's the headline. Now at last, you can hear them too. Mississippi man discovers long lost tapes made by Elvis Presley before he became famous. All right, so let's just start reading this now. Let's go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna read this. So, because the only way you get better at copy is reading copy. So, if you're an Elvis Presley fan, this may be the most exciting message you will ever read. Here is why. In 1955, a full year before Elvis became famous, he got a chance to play at the Eagles Hall at 2204 Louisiana Street in Houston, Texas. He went there with Scotty Moore, his guitar player and first sidekick, and Bill Black, his bass player. Well, what happened is the three of them got up there on the stage and they set that joint on fire. You see, this was Elvis before he was tamed down, before Colin Parker got a hold of him, before Steve Allen tried to twitch him, before he was told he had to stop all that shaking or else TV cameras could only shoot him from the waist up. This was Elvis, totally unlimited. Well, anyway, there was a DJ down in Houston named Benny Hess, who used to go around recording live acts on his tape recorder, and then, if he liked what he heard, he'd play the tape on his radio show. Then after that, to save money, he'd use that same tape to record anybody else instead of saving the original recording. So what he does this time is he goes to the Elvis concert at the Eagles Hall and he records it, and he decides it's not good enough to play on his radio show. Well, thank God. If that tape had been played, it would have been rounded, it would have been recorded over like all others, and it would have been lost forever, as it turns out. However, the tape was simply tossed in a drawer where it was forgotten for more than 20 years. Hard to imagine, isn't it? But believe it or not, back then, the people at the Eagles Hall didn't even know how to spell Elvis Presley's last name. They used two S's instead of one and spelled his name Elvis Presley. Take a look at their newspaper ad and you see what I mean. You won't believe your ears. Whatever. So, to get on with the story, 22 years go by, and as we all sadly remember, Elvis Presley passes away on August 16, 1977. Millions of people are plunged into depression. The king is dead and nobody can ever replace him. But sometimes, even in the midst of the greatest tragedies, something good happens, and in this case, what happens is that a man down in Mississippi, where Elvis was born, remembered that DJ who used to tape those live acts, and he gets him on the phone. The man from Mississippi is a good old boy named Marcellus Allison, and he asks the DJ if he ever taped Elvis. By God, I believe I did, says the DJ, and then the hunt is on. Well, to make a long story short, they find the tape, but it's so old and so dried out, it starts to crumble as soon as they touch it. So they get a special machine that can play the tape without any tension at all, and they're able to save every single song Elvis sang at that concert. They also got Elvis talking to the audience between songs, and believe me, this is not the same Elvis you saw in all those dumb movies. No way. This is the hip shaking, pelvis pounding, tough talking Elvis in the first flush of his manhood before he was homogenized and cleaned up for public consumption. That was a big word. When Scotty Moore first heard the tape, he said that when Scotty Moore first heard the tape, he said, "That's me. I can't deny it." You can hear Bill Black, the clown of the group, howling in the background. So, with the help of Stan Kessler, a songwriter who was at Sun Records when Elvis was there, the tape gets converted to one side of a record album. Then on the other side, they get Scotty Moore talking, and he tells what it was like traveling around the first year with Elvis. What stories around the what stories? Scotty tells about how he and Bill Black and Elvis got stranded in Shreveport, Louisiana because they didn't have enough money to pay the hotel bill. He tells about his wife nearly ran out the back door when she first saw Elvis because he was dressed so weirdly in a pink suit and white shoes. He tells about their grand old Opry appearing. He tells about their grand old Opry appearance, which was a disaster. Elvis was advised to go back to driving the truck. He tells about Bill Black's clowning around what he tells about Bill Black's clowning around was needed to win the audience over, so they would at least give Elvis a chance, and so on. All in all, this may be the most historically important record album ever produced. It was tied up in lawsuits for several years, but now, at last, it is available for release on a very limited basis to the general public. But you must act fast. As you know, Elvis has sold hundreds of millions of records, but this one is truly rare. This album is called The Farcier, and only 10,000 of this special limited edition were produced, and there are less than 7,000 left. At only 1995 apiece, these albums are truly a rare bargain. You see, in this case, you're not just getting a record, you're also getting a piece of history. However, because these albums are so rare, um, there is a strict limit of only one per customer. Please do not ask us to make an exception. We can't. We can't. It wouldn't be fair. There's not really enough of these albums to go around, and we want to satisfy as many Elvis fans as we can with what we've got to work with. Anyway, these albums are being sold on a first come, first served basis with a 100% money back guarantee. They're easy to order. All you have to do is write your name and address in the words First Elvis Album on a piece of paper and send it with your payment of $19.95 plus $2 shipping and handling. So total $21.95 to Everett and Lloyd Inc., 9000 Sunset Boulevard, Suite 603, Los Angeles, California, 90069. That's all there is to it. Your album will be shipped promptly within 24 hours as soon as we receive your order. By the way, for faster service, you can order by phone and we will send this amazing album to you COD, or you can use your MasterCard, Visa, or American Express. We are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. West Coast time, and our number is 213-273-7053. I wonder if you can call that number. Either way, if you're interested, please order as soon as possible to avoid disappointment. By the way, when you get your album, you will see that it has a reproduction of a contract signed by Elvis that also contains the only known signature of his mother, Gladys Presley. Okay, we read through that ad. Sorry, I think I was a bit terrible at reading that ad. But now let's break down this ad. So, copywriting hacks: how to write and copy and influence. The 60-day copywriting challenge ad breakdown checklist. The four U's. Okay, so is the headline urgent, unique, and ultra specific? I'm going to see if we can move this ad over here. Let's look at it side by side. You won't be able to see it on my screen to the left, but I need to look at it while I break it down. Mine doesn't always do that. Okay, so the four U's is the headline urgent, useful, unique, and ultra specific. Well, okay, let's look at the headline. So let me just move it back over. Okay, let's see if we can make sure our headline is useful. If it's what was it again? Okay, useful, urgent, useful, unique, ultra specific. Yes, I do remember the four U's. Okay, is this useful? Mississippi man discovers long lost tapes made by Elvis Presley before he became famous. I mean, this could be useful to the Elvis Presley fan. So whoever is a um, religious Elvis Presley fan would be, this could be useful to you. All right. Is this urgent? Oh, I skipped one. Okay, urgent. Is this urgent? Mississippi man discovers long lost tapes made by Elvis Presley before he came. Yeah, in a sense, these are long lost tapes. There's urgency in there because everyone has that kind of. It has this kind of vault appeal. Everyone wants to be a vault hunter or discover something unique. So this could be urgent to the person who is like the collector. There are long lost tapes that need to be found. So I think there is some urgency there, no doubt. Um, so we checked it off for urgent, useful. Is this, and then yeah, this is also useful. So this is urgent. This is useful. It is unique because it is only unique to um, Elvis Presley fans. This is and it has long lost tapes, so it's also a unique uh, thing right there. What else? Is this ultra specific? Um, Yeah, kind of. This is ultra specific to Elvis Presley fans. So I think this is a really good headline. It does meet all the four U's from what I think about it. So we've checked it off for all those things. So let's see what's next. Rule of one. Does a headline and lead copy stick to the rule of one? Does it stick to just one focal point, or does it jump around from one focal point to another? Nah, I don't think so, because this is long lost tapes. That's what it is. Long lost tapes made by Elvis Presley before he became famous. That's all you need to know. That is the focal point of the headline. There is nothing going more. There's nothing more going on than that. Okay. One sentence summary. Can the concept of the copy big idea be summed up clearly in one sentence and relayed with clarity to a stranger? Yeah, I think that's done through the headline. So let's come back to this. Yeah, I think. Um, Sorry, I did this. Okay, there's a hint. Can the sentence summary? So while I'm doing this, let me make sure I'm breaking this down. Okay, where are we? Oh yeah. Can the concept of the copy big idea be summed up in one sentence to be related to the clarity to a stranger? I mean, yes. Elvis lost tapes. Get them before you go. You're getting to own a piece of history with these. Own a piece of history. That's the big idea. It's all about owning history. It's all about being the first. Someone. It's all about being the classic collector. It's all about being cool, unique. Because everyone who wouldn't want to show off, like, oh yeah, I got all these lost tapes from Elvis Presley. Not me, because I don't think Elvis Presley was that great. But that's just my personal opinion. But I think that is the one sentence summary. Own a piece of history with these long lost Elvis Presley tapes. That could be your summary there. Is the approach of the copy direct or or indirect? It's definitely direct. This is like, hey, got some long lost Elvis Presley tapes, motherfucker. Do you want them or not? So yes, definitely direct. Direct as hell. And what it means by direct is the reader is aware of the company person writing the ad. They're aware they have a problem and the product can help them. Indirect, the reader is unaware of who's writing them. They are unaware or they have a problem. They are unaware that the solution. Oh, okay. I mean, I thought it was direct from like the copywriter's perspective, but we're talking from direct or indirect from the reader's perspective. Then in this case, I would say indirect. I mean, because they didn't know there were maybe the reader didn't know there were long lost tapes, um, so they didn't know they had that problem and they didn't know the solution exists. So it sounds very indirect from the reader's perspective, for me, and I don't care anyway. I would only care about this if I was an Elvis Presley fan, but I'm not. So okay, doing this. What lead is being used? Offer, invitation lead, promise lead, problem solution lead, secret lead, proclamation lead, story lead. Okay, let's look at that again. But no, it's not there. It's not this one. And okay, I just put this tab in here. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, if you're an Elvis Presley fan, this may be the most exciting message you will ever read. Here's why. In 1955, a full year before Elvis Presley became famous, he got a chance to play at the Eagles Hall at 2204 Louisiana Street in Houston, Texas. He went there with Scotty Moore, his guitar player and first sidekick, and Bill Black, his bass player. Well, what happened is the three of them got up there in that stage and they set that joint on fire. So, what lead is being used? This sounds like a story lead, you know, because most of the copy just sounds like it's telling a story, and yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's going on here. Okay, problem, agitate, solution. Bomb is a problem that your product sells easily identified. Does the copy poke at the reader's pain points? Does the copy identify clearly that there is a solution to the reader's problem, and that you are the person capable of helping them solve that problem? Okay, so is the problem that your product service solves easily identified? No, not. I mean, not really. Like, I mean, because who is going up? This is very, very niche. Because who is waking up going like, oh my God, there are all these long lost tapes Elvis Presley made. And no, like either you weren't aware of that or you were, depending on how much of a fan that you were. Maybe if there was someone who knew, who remembers that, oh yeah, I do remember when Elvis Presley played at 2204 Louisiana Street. I do remember that. Whatever happened to those tapes? Like, it's cool that those tapes finally became so. It could be two ways. There's like one, the person who didn't know that they had a problem, and they said like, "Yo, they're long lost Elvis Presley tapes." Someone could have been like, "Oh shit," and then, or the other person could have been like, "Oh yes, yes, I remember. I was there. I want those Elvis Presley tapes. Like, this is what I've been looking for. Finally, like, yes, yes, I want those tapes, man. Like, let me read it." So that's how I can see it working from this problem agitate solution. Like, it's like you know, so that's the problem. That's how I see it working. Does the copy poke at the reader's pain points? Again, this depends on the reader or how much they are aware of the product, right? But this is where you can really see the pain points getting off here. Okay, he decides it's not good enough to play on his radio show. So part of the story, remember when he was telling that, like, so what he does is he goes to the Elvis concert at the Eagles Hall and he records it. He decides it's not good enough to play on his radio show. And thank God, if that tape had been played, it would have been recorded over like all the others, and it would have been lost forever. You see, that's a pinpoint. That's for the fan, for the fan who was like those secret was like, no, I don't want it. It would have been lost forever if that happened. Oh my God, like you're scaring me. Like the thought of these tapes being lost forever. Like fuck, no, I don't want that. And then here's another thing. Like then they talk about. Then there's also this part where the man from the Mississippi is a good old boy named Marcellus Allison, and he asked the DJ if he ever taped Elvis, and he'd be like, "By God, I believe I did. Yeah, I think I did." You know, says the DJ, and the hunt is on. Well, to make a long story short, they find the tape, but it's so old and so dried out, it starts to crumble as soon as they touch it, and they're like, "Oh fuck!" Because if you touch this tape, right, it's gonna crumble, and then you're gonna lose it again. So I feel like this is the copywriter really driving up the fear of like how fragile and how close these tapes were like close to being lost, right? So it starts to crumble as soon as they touch it. So they get a special machine that can play the tape without any tension at all. So this is the severity of the situation at all. They had to get a special machine, right, to make sure that the tape was like could be played without any tension. They're trying to like rev up this like dire situation of it all. Um, and then they're gone. But whew, they're able to save every single song Elvis sang at that concert. So let's come back to the agitate. Does the copy poke at the reader's pain points? Yes, it's poking at those pain points of like these tapes could have been lost forever because they were so close to being lost. You know, there was the time where it could have been recorded over, or the tapes were so fragile they would have been destroyed. So that's the proof or claims that he has in that story, and um, that's where the copy pokes at the reader's pain points. Solution: does the copy identify clearly that there is a solution to the reader's problem and that you are the person capable of handling that problem? So yeah, you know, they say they're able to save every song Elvis sang at that concert. You know, and then he goes on to tell about the stories and all that stuff. But yeah, basically they had the machine, saved everything, and it saved all the stories and all. And they talked about how they, in one side of the record, it's Elvis singing, and then one side of the record is this one guy telling all these stories about Elvis because he was a clown and he could like engage the audience. Uh, So yeah, like they present a solution. We have the tapes, you know, as they've been selling. As you know, Elvis sold hundreds of millions of records, but this one is truly rare. This album is called The First Year, and only 10,000 of the special limited edition were produced, and there are less than $7,000 left. So where do we go again? Does a copy identify clearly like there's a solution? Like, yeah, we have the tapes. You know, send us money because we have the tapes, and we were the people that were able to use the machines and save it from crumbling and all that stuff, and it was all because of this Mississippi man, you know. So now let's go on to the next one, the Clayton Makepeace Big Four. Does your headline grab the reader by the eyeballs? Does this speak directly to your target prospect? Does this still curiosity? Is there a big promise? Let's go back to the headline. Yeah. This would definitely Mississippi man discovers long lost tapes made by Elvis Presley before he became famous. Yes, this grabs the eye of the, like I said, the hardcore Elvis Presley fan, and then on top of that, it also grabs the vanity, like, oh, I have these secret tapes, like, look at me, I'm so cool. It also um, grabs the attention of the collector, you know, the big fan, you know, the person who grabs all the cool shit. Does this still curiosity? Um, Yeah, what long lost tapes are you talking about? Really? There were long lost tapes? Like, yeah, tell me. Is there a big promise? No. No. Oh, now at last you can hear them too. It's like right there. The big promise. Mississippi man discovers long lost tapes made by Elvis Presley before he became famous. Now at last you can hear it. I don't know why that didn't come afterwards. Like why wasn't that the subhead? But they led with that. I don't know why that is. Maybe other professional like the copywriting pros can answer that for me. Okay. Does the copy establish credibility? And yeah. Who is this guy? He's well, yeah. In a sense, he's talking about dates. He's throwing big names out there. Marcellus Allison, all that stuff. And then there's also proof where they had that. He talked about how they spelled his name wrong, and he's showing the proof of that ad there. Now that you look at that, it's also there. So I feel like the copy establishes some type of credibility. Well, let me see. Where can I find it? I mean, yeah, it's got all these dates. It's got all these proof of the storytelling. Let's move on. I don't know. Like, credibility part, not so much. I can't really break it down. Is the copy believable? Yeah, I would say it's believable because he's putting down dates, names, using all these people. Then also the fact that he has that ad and how like this is the ad that I found that misspelled Presley's name because he wasn't famous. Nobody knew he was. Um, I don't know. There's the copies. It might be believable for the Elvis Presley fan. What does the copy do to prove the reader that you are a credible person of authority who should be paid attention to? Um, oh yeah, the fact that this guy knows his stuff, like he knows his history. He's talking. He's got the proof right there. He talked about how little his last name was spent. You know, this guy is a music aficionado or some type of history aficionado because he's telling all these stories. That, and again, they have dates, they have names, people that Elvis knew, um, all this stuff. If it was online, if it was a promo and there was video, and then they were showing the tapes, I think it would be more believable. But this is just, um, I mean, it only establishes his credibility in the sense that he knows what he's talking about. He knows the story behind this. He knows the story behind the lost tape. There's a copy offer a bribe. Is there a bribe in place to convince the reader that they must read on? And let's see. No, I mean not really. But you must act fast. As you know, Elvis has sold hundreds of millions this first year. It's only 10,000. This is just the urgency part. Only 10,000 left. The special limited edition were produced. There are less than 7,000 left. Again, urgency. Don't think there's really a bribe. It's just creating that fear of missing out, that urgency, creating that FOMO, which is good because you want to do that most of the time with your copy. Okay. The 8 useful components to look for up front. Is the offer promise new? Is the offer why do I keep saying office? Because it's like there's offer slash promise. So is the offer slash promise new? Yeah, like I said, it's new to the Elvis Presley fan. Is the offer promise unique? Yeah, it's kind of unique to the Elvis Presley fan. Is the offer promise safe to invest in? Let's look at that. Let's look at the offer. Like you must act now. As you know, at only 9.95 apiece, these albums are truly rare bargain. You see, in this case, you're not getting a record; you're also getting a piece of history. But however, because these albums are so rare, what was the question again? it's sort of safe to invest in, I guess. This is for the dedicated fan. It's safe to invest in. They'll take the chance. I think they've already been sold, because they're huge. You can only be sold if you're a huge Elvis Presley fan and you've always wanted stuff like this. Is the offer promise easy to use and implement? In the sense of urgency, yes. Like if you can take that same model, there are only this left. We can only make this much because of, you know, we can only make this much. We have this left. The offer keeps giving all of these excuses for why it's $20, and like you can't get more than one. So very, very limited. And I feel like most offers can use that as well. Is the offer promise simple to use? Yeah, it is. Is the offer promise fast to deliver results? I mean, yeah, send us money, you get your tapes. Is the offer promise providing results that are predictable? Yeah, send us money, you get your tapes. Is the offer promise providing something big? Yeah, like it's the deeper benefit of being like you are a collector, you are a person who has a piece of history, you are the dedicated Elvis Presley fan. People will be so impressed when they come to your house and then you start playing this Elvis Presley record and it'll be like, wait, is that Elvis Presley? I've never heard that song. Like, yeah, man, this is one of Elvis Presley's lost tapes. Look at me, I'm so cool. So that's the deeper benefit, like being an aficionado, like being a connoisseur of music. The 8 useful components hidden in your copy. Does the copy provide proof for every promise and claim made? I think so. Sort of. The guy is just it's just stories that he's using to back himself up. And someone would have to go and verify and look this up and like cross check it. Does the copy provide? But I think for the most part, it does provide proof. Does the copy use pictures, words to provide a snapshot of the reader in the future benefiting from having bought and used your product or service? Does the copy use picture words to provide a snapshot of the reader in the future benefiting from having bought and used their product and service? Uh, let's look at this copy again. Okay. I mean, yeah. It's like here's a snap of the ad. It's like a snap of history. Here's proof that they spelled his name wrong, and here is the time where he was performing at Eagles Hall. So what was the question again? So yeah, it does use pictures and snapshot to provide a look into Elvis before he was famous. It does that. Can you identify exactly when the offer is being made? Um, yeah, right. After they've looped you into this story and they've given you all this tactics of like the teams were almost lost and but we came through now. But this is where it starts with this subhead, and this is good because the subheads. Because if you don't want to read this, the subheads even just lead you. Mississippi lost tapes. Set the joint on fire. Size is not good enough. They're able to save every song. So act fast. There are less than 7,000 left. There is a strict limit of only one per customer. Then here's the contact information number. So can you identify exactly when the offer is being made? So it's like, right at the end after they tell this like cool story about Elvis Presley. Does the copy reduce the risk to the reader? They said, money back guarantee, but they didn't say when. They didn't say 30-day or anything like that. So they kind of made it a vague money back guarantee, but there is a guarantee nonetheless. So if you like the tapes, if you get the tapes and you don't like it, it didn't say how long. But I guess whenever you're just like, no, I want these tapes back, you can offer that. You know, say yes, it was there. There's a call to action asking for the sale clear and concise. Yes. At only 19.95 a piece, these albums are truly a rare bargain. You will see this in your case. You're not just getting the record; you're also getting a piece of history. However, because these albums are so rare, blah blah blah. So anyway, these albums are being sold on a first come, first served basis with 100% money back guarantee. They're easy to order. All you have to do is write your name and address first and the words first Elvis album on a piece of paper and send it with your payment of $19.95 plus $2. Oh, I'm getting bored with this exercise. But let's get just okay. There's a copy summarized offer towards the end. Yes, the reader is getting. Wait, what are they getting exactly? Yeah, they're getting an album, but that's all it says. Right? It doesn't say how many songs in the album, what's in the album. But I think they're getting the album of all Elvis Presley songs at that town hall when he was recording, and then the guy who was also telling stories. So it's one album like on each side. Yes, and then the price is it's $19.95. Total is $21.95 for $2 for shipping and handling. Wow, you know this thing is old because shipping that costs $2. What is the end result, outcome, transformation they can expect? Like once they get the product, they'll own a piece of history. They'll be cool. The reader will own a piece of history. Will be more connected to Elvis Presley than ever because they also have his long lost tapes. They don't only have his album now, but they also have a piece of history that was never there. Is the price presented in the way that makes the offer seem too good to pass up? I mean, $20. I wouldn't pay $20 for an album, but that's just me. Let's say back then, but if it's to own a piece of history, and I mean, yeah, like I said, it's too good to pass up for the dedicated Elvis Presley fan. So let me not be biased and think from this from my perspective. Does the copy move the reader away from the crossroad? Is it highlighted? Is it highlighted what the reader stands to gain by purchasing? Yeah, a piece of history. Is it highlighted what the reader stands to lose by not purchasing? You lose a piece of history. Like you are not. If you say you're the real Elvis Presley fan, you would have bought these like long lost tapes. You know, the real dedicated Elvis Presley fan. So you could be seen as fake or just a casual. Like you're just you're a casual fan. And if you don't want to be the casual fan, if you really want to be connected to Elvis Presley, if you really, and then you could also hold these tapes. You could sell them later for a lot of money. I don't know. That's what it is. This is not a comprehensive checklist. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that is my breakdown of the of this ad. Like I said, what I got from it was this is for the dedicated Elvis Presley fan. There's a lot of story being it's story driven, but it was and it creates all these the story driven. If you weren't aware of the problem, you're aware of it now. Either like one, as the Elvis Presley fan, you were aware of that these long tapes were missing and you couldn't get a hold of them, you couldn't find them, and finally someone's coming, you're like, yes. Or you could have been like, what? I didn't know. Of course I want them, and then it also scares you into the idea of thinking, wow, these tapes could have been lost forever. Hell no. Like, oh my god, that's scary. I do want to buy them now. So please let me get them because I don't want them to be lost. And then it creates urgency because they're like there are only 10,000 now. There's less than 7,000. We can only offer one per customer. So please, they're going fast. We want to make sure everyone we want to spread it out and all that stuff. So they create this urgency, this like exclusivity about it. And it's simple, send us $20, you get your album. It contains the songs that Elvis Presley performed, and this one guy also telling their stories. And it's clear how you can do it, mail, mail it, all that stuff. So the thing, what I'm learning about this copy is like, you can use story to drive people. You can create some fear, and then you present the solution really fast. And then you tell them how to do it because that's the thing about Gary Halbert. He was very, very, very like instructional. All That's all there is to it. Uh, you, where are the instructions? They're easy to order. All you have to do is write your name and address the words First Elvis album on a piece of paper and send it with your payment link. Also leading the customer to the action to the close. And yeah, that is your breakdown. So now it's up to me to write my own copy, try and write copy for my own product in the same way. So because a 60-day challenge is to read an ad, break it down, and then write your own copy. So this is the ad breakdown. That's all it is. So this is Kwaku. Thanks for going through this breakdown with me. This was very, very much freestyle and a lot. So now it's time to write copy. So peace. Okay. Where is the fuck, man?